Welcome to Mishna study Masechet Maasrot Peragim Mishna He. If you remember, every time we speak about seeing the house, right? Once you have produce and you bring it into your home, or if you bring it into a courtyard, right? That's going to obligate it now in Maasrot. So what type of courtyard are we talking about? If it's a totally open courtyard, would that be okay? So the rule of thumb is that the same way the house is kovea for maaser, so too the courtyard is kovea maaser, and it needs to be on condition that it's not hefker, right? That the courtyard itself is there to protect what's inside. And the Tanaim over here in this Mishnah are going to argue what type of courtyard obligates the food that comes in, right, to be obligated in Maasrot, right? So even if you had food that you were eating temporarily, you were eating achilat arai until a certain point, then you brought it into this courtyard, this type of courtyard, now you're going to have to separate Maasrot. Right, where does this courtyard obligates in Maasrot? Right? A hatzer similar to one of tsor, right, which is tire. And what's unique about it? That the kilim would be protected inside, right? So they would set a guard outside, and they would everything would be protected inside. Okay, so that's a protected courtyard. It's similar to a house, and that's going to obligate in Maasrot. Right? If you have a courtyard, right, where if you have two homes in there, and one person would lock the door, and other person who lives in the same courtyard, right, who has a house in that same courtyard, could come and unlock that door, right? That's going to be patur. That's not considered protected enough, right? Unless it's protected where one person could only open and close it. As long as someone isn't embarrassed to eat inside, right? It's more private, right? That's going to be a courtyard that obligates in Maasrot. It needs to be a courtyard where if someone walks in, they're not going to be questioned. What are you doing here, right? If you question, what are you doing here, right? That's going to obligate a Maasrot. But if it's something where anyone could just walk in and they're not going to be questioned, that type of courtyard would be patur. Rabbi Yehuda says if you have two courtyards, one in front of the other, right? So the outer one is going to be, the inner one will be chayav, and the outer one would be patur. Rambam says halacha is like all of them leachmir, right? And it needs to meet all these conditions in order, or basically really any one of these conditions, right? Because it's the Achmir. It meets any one of these conditions on their own, it would be something that obligates in Maasrot. What's interesting is if you open up the halacha, he seems to be posek like Rabbi Yosef, right? If you open up the halacha, he says, Hatzer shomino kishnichnas mat tevakesh kova'ad lemaaser, right? So it seems like he's posek like Rabbi Yosef. Yeah, so that's how he's posek in the Mishneh Torah. Over here, though, he does say that it's all of them leachmir.